Hey everyone, welcome to another amazing episode of the Brave Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Jena Rodriguez, and I am your brand, business, and brave strategist for unleashing the human potential of business owners and truly helping them get clear on their brand and their profit enhancement strategies to make that money-making brand happen. So I am so excited to have another amazing guest with us today, Jessica Yarbrough, and she is hanging out in San Diego. How are you, Jessica?
Anna, thanks for having me on the show.
You're welcome. I'm excited. We were just kind of catching up and getting to know each other before the show, and it sounds like we've got a lot in common and a lot of energy. and I love the fact that we were talking about all the travel and things that you do to be brave. And it was funny because you were sharing how, you and me both, like we've traveled the country, the world, and you've got this 3-year-old and you're taking her off to Europe for a month. And I just think it's really cool that people should know that, Brave shows up in all different types of fashions. And I just really honor that you're brave about that, because what a great experience for your daughter. Like, how cool is that? So, so take a moment and introduce yourself.
Sure. My name is Jessica Yarbrough. I'm the creator of the CEO Babe brand, and I empower female entrepreneurs to really own their magic, to monetize it, create high-end consulting and coaching businesses, create multiple passive income streams, and really launch the business of their dreams.
I love it. I love it. And that includes live wherever you want to live, right? That's what we do. So, and I think that's what's amazing is that we can be powerful women. We can be powerful moms. I'm a mom too. And we can be powerful business owners. And I feel like the common thread, the reason I made this show, is that there's something brave about it. And so I'd love to know what your kind of brave journey has been. I don't know how long you've been in business or what have you, but just kind of give us some backstory and what's been your bravest moment about the entrepreneurship.
Oh man, I think it's a couple. I've had some peaks and valleys, right? I mean, isn't that the nature of the game? I started consulting when I was about 21 years old, and I left it to build a startup company. And I was on the road to burnout building this like dream company. When I went to vacation in Thailand and had an aha moment, a spiritual awakening, if you will, saying like, this is not what I want to do.
Wow.
I want to travel. I want to see the world. I want to work from my computer. And this was 2009, 10. This is before laptop lifestyle was popular.
Right.
The brave moment was making a decision to walk away from my company, to let go of my shares, to buy a one-way ticket to Asia and start my 4-year travel journey, which very few people supported in my life.
Yeah.
It was totally crazy to walk away from a great paying job. That was definitely my big brave moment. And I think, it was like 2 months into my journey to Thailand where I picked up some more consulting work. It was like, see, Jessica, you can make it anywhere. There's always opportunity.
So good. And that brings me to the next question, because I think this is important for people to get. It sounds like, oh, great, that's great for you, and that's great that you just went against everybody's advice and all that. But speak to how do you listen to yourself, listen to what you want, and do something that sounds and looks like probably unreasonable. And do it anyway. It's kind of like, how did you in the moment go, I can't listen to what my family's advising me or my friends or whatever, those people that are thinking you're crazy. How did you really move and navigate that?
Well, I think it's twofold. The biggest thing I had was time. So, in the United States, when you're working a 9-to-5 job, most people get a week, maybe 2 weeks vacation, and you don't usually take them together. But I did. Right. I took I think it was 10 or 14 days vacation. And something really shifts when you hit that 7-day mark, where you're like, hey, there's some space. You're not thinking about work anymore. There's this space to consider other possibilities. And then just seeing Asia too was just so mind blowing. I wanted more. And I tell you, it wasn't easy to do it, but I spent about 3 days thinking about it, and I didn't discuss it with anyone, not my family, not my best friend. And it was the first major decision I'd ever made on my own. And so for people considering, how do I make a big decision? I would say, number one, take a journey somewhere. It doesn't have to be Thailand. You can go to the woods somewhere. You can go to the beach somewhere, but somewhere where you can be alone and with your thoughts and with your own feelings without projections or judgments or opinions, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And then go within and like really ask the question, what do I want? Not what does everybody else want? What do I think I need to be for everyone else?
Right.
But what do I really want? And I guarantee you the answer is probably going to be to get your butt out and do something different with your life.
Yeah. And I think what you just said, or what I heard inside of what you said, and you can correct me if I'm off, is stop asking for permission.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you got quiet enough to, like what you just said, like for 3 days or however many, you just really decided for yourself, and you didn't call on anybody else for the advice or call on like, what do they think? What should I do? That kind of thing. It's like not asking for the permission of others to make those decisions for yourself. And so I don't know if you kind of see that or not.
Absolutely. I think it is that permission. And so often we're constantly seeking approval.
Yeah, exactly.
I know for a fact, based on the reaction that I got when I returned to the United States and gave the news, if I would have reached out for help, I would have been talked out of it.
Right.
My brother, I remember me saying, and I love my brother. Of course, he's like, thinks it's a great decision now. We're talking a decade later.
Yeah, of course, hindsight works.
I'm saying, what are you, crazy? Like, you love this. This is your dream. You have like the career that you want. This is, it matches up with your degree. It's what you've been working for. Why would you, and me, I was just like, I gotta go.
Yeah.
This and know that I can do this.
Right.
Create opportunity, money, whatever, on my terms, no matter where I am in the world. And that job is the only job I've had in 15 years.
Yeah. Right. And I think that's do what? Say again?
And I haven't had a job since.
Amen. All right. Like, throw the job out. I know we're in like year 13 of being an entrepreneur, and I'm like, I couldn't see it any other way. Right. At this point. Right. I was in corporate America before that. So, I think it's, and what it sounds like, and maybe advice to people listening, or even for myself, I'm taking some of this on myself, is give yourself a space enough to work through the doubts and the like what ifs and all the stuff that other people are going to give you. But when you're really trying to figure out what's right for yourself, like you said, you spent a couple days like just being really quiet with it, and the fears or whatever's going to pop up, because once you are solid in the decision and the belief in yourself, then you can go be with whatever they've got going on. Because it's just their beliefs. It's just their protective mechanism, right, to make sure you're safe. And yet, if we ask too early for, feedback or input, then we're going to be talked out of it.
That's right. And I think that we talked out of it, and we talk ourselves out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's that whole brave piece. People are, we're our own worst enemy because we have this tendency to overanalyze. And I think was it Robert De Niro or somebody who said, we're literally dying for killing ourselves from overthinking.
Oh yeah, wow.
Like,
statement.
Think, fear, and stagnation. Think, fear, stagnation. And so there's no movement, there's no progress forward because we're constantly in analysis paralysis. Yeah.
I'm always saying that fear, action annihilates fear. So it's like, just stop worrying about it.
I know it doesn't. I feel like that's the number one thing we do as like a business coach or consultant. You're just like, get over it, take action.
Exactly. Get over it. Just freaking go like throw the ball, and if the ball falls down, well, I'll pick you up, but I can't do anything if you don't throw the ball. Yeah. Like it's so funny because I wasn't a big sports person. I don't know if you played sports growing up or not. I was in volleyball. But why do we have coaches? Why do we have coaches in, sports? Well, it's like, number one, keep you in the game, go play the game, and if you fall down, we course correct it. But it's like, that's why I think, as business coaches like yourself, it's like, how do we play bigger? And, and this is it. This is the little secret sauce everybody's trying to find, is like, no, it's not a funnel. I mean, and you and I both do funnels, but it's like, just throw the funnel out there and then see what happens, right?
The action piece. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And so tell me a little bit more about, you're in business right now, you kind of got through that experience and jumped into your career, your entrepreneurial career. What's been one of the bravest things about, at this point of, just like how big have you had to play in order to get the business to the level that it's at?
Really big, really big.
Yeah.
I think that I've invested close to $80,000 in my business in the last year, which, I'm a single mother. I have no child support, so I am the sole provider for my daughter and raising, a 3-year-old on my own. So I would say all of that, through the sickness and the tears, both hers and mine.
We cry together.
Yeah, the time investment, the emotional investment, and absolutely the financial investment that I have, put everything on the line, invested back in my business to get it to where I am today.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's your advice around that for someone, inside of, like, whether they're new or they're trying to go to the next level? Like, what would you say they need to do?
You got to be brave. You got to play big or go home.
Yeah.
Because that is the nature of the game. And I see this, and I'm sure you've heard it, especially with someone making their first like $5,000 or $3,000 investment. And, they're like, I spent this money. And it's like, okay, this is a business and it's going to take a lot more. It's going to take, continual investment and being smart with your money and reinvesting it back into your business to grow to the point where you want it to be.
Right.
So treat it like a business, play big, play in for the long run, and don't be afraid to invest in, whatever it may be. Because here's the thing, and I tell people this all the time, some things are going to work and some things won't. Some things are going to be terrible. You're like, oh my gosh, I just blew 10 grand. Well, no, you learned something.
Yeah.
This particular Facebook ad doesn't work, or maybe this particular system doesn't work for your business, but you keep trying, you keep showing up, doing the work, taking the action and investing, and you'll find what works. And then you'll be like me, like I just had $30K that I made in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Any money spent on ads, and half of that was made on vacation. So it's but you got to stay in the game, like you said, and you have to be willing to play big. And when I say play big, I am talking about showing up, putting yourself out there, throwing the funnel up, running the programs, even if no one shows up.
Yeah, exactly.
Spending the money on ads, even if, your targeting's off and it tanks, whatever that particular ad campaign. It's like you have to show up and you have to be willing to put everything on the line, because that's the only way that you're going to become a millionaire.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And I agree 100%, because I think, every place you can stretch yourself is a lesson learned. Right. And it's like, whether it's Facebook ads or, it's something, I do them well, I do them as well. And something I had to look at is I invested money. It's kind of like, how do you see it? How do you hold that investment different than any other investment that you've made? I've invested in sponsorships. I've invested, thousands of dollars, 10,000s at a time. Right. And in the hopes that it'll bring new clients. Right. And so, however, the more I invested, the more I did it and proved it to myself, I saw the return. And it's the same thing with a Facebook ad. It's not any different. It's still just an investment, and you have to trust the process. And I think people like cut themselves off, or they quit. They quit too early. Yeah, they just quit.
Yeah, and the group program I'm running, we just started 2 weeks ago. I did the first module. I said, let's do a quick cash offer. And it was just to get them in action. Just don't overthink it. Put it out there, see what happens. And I said, even if people don't buy, when we put out your real big offer in the next week or so, you're top of the mind for them. They're thinking, oh man, I couldn't do that one offer, and they'll buy the next one, or they'll buy the next one. But it's like, get in the mode of taking action and not being fearful, and things are going to flop and fail, and things are going to be enormously successful, but you have to play to win, and you have to stay in the game. Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You got to keep playing. And I think that's where people really, it's like 90% of the people out there aren't taking enough action. Like, there's just not enough. And so how do you manage? I'm a mom, I have a teenager that's in the house now. She can kind of take care of herself. But I remember I started when my daughter was, like 1.5, 2 years old as an entrepreneur. So how do you manage being single mom, especially for those single moms out there listening, and running a business.
Well, I'm not going to lie and say that it's not challenging at times.
Yep.
The hardest part is when she gets sick, right? Because that's out of your control. But for the most part, she's in preschool. So I have my work hours. One thing I really promote to everyone is to take care of yourself, because it's brutal, right? I mean, you're working for yourself. There's little time for appreciating your journey or taking care of yourself.
Right.
So build that time in, you know, get massages, go to yoga, do whatever it is that makes you feel good, play volleyball, take care of yourself, and, you know, just pace yourself and say, hey, you know, it's not, I don't need to kill myself and do 80 hours this week. I have, you know, certain hours that I work, and I work less hours than I did at my startup company. So there you go.
Right.
You just
like there is a payoff. Yeah. You know, and it's funny, I always said that, you know, when I look back, you know, it's like hire help, right? Hire team, right? Well, daycare was my first team member. You know, like I needed support personally. So childcare, maid, you know, like clean my house. I know I can do it, but you know, somebody else do it. I don't, you know, I can go make more money and pay you. Then, so I think people, there's times where I hear conversations where it's like, oh, I can't, you know, I gotta take care of the kids. And I'm like, they're going to be fine. And if you're going to seriously run a business, you've got to hire help in some way. And so what's your opinion about that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I have my list of babysitters because
Yeah.
I have me time. I have my preschool, and then I do have my house cleaner. Absolutely. Of course I can clean it myself, but you know.
Yeah, it's not the point.
They have to come for 4 hours while I'm working, and then the house is clean, and I can just go on vacation and feel really good to come back to a clean house.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I've done kind of meal prep before. I've done food delivery, that sort of thing. I mean, I'm all about like help me in my personal life more than I am my business. I do have a team for my business now, but actually, like you said, the personal life is even more important. So my team of healers, my masseuse, my, you know,
Yes.
all of those. I have the kids club you know, added to my membership at my gym. So if I need to hit the gym, you know, I can put you know, in there for an hour.
Yeah.
So it's all of those things to take care of yourself and to give you space to create, or just to give you a day off too.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's so good. I think I appreciate this coming up, right? This conversation, because I don't always have moms, especially with toddlers or things like that, on the show, and I've been there, done that, and I think people use it as a reason not to build a business, and I'm like, well, hold on a minute, right? Like we can do it both, but we do have to be willing to have the help and not feel guilty about it, right?
And you have to be willing to invest. It's like I was sharing with you that I took my daughter to Mexico for 5 weeks last year.
Right.
I had found a nannying service in advance, and I had a nanny for about 20 to 25 hours a week, so that
Wow.
I could go and work at the coffee shops, and she had a blast, you know, playing there. And it's the same thing when I go to Europe. I'm going to have a nanny part-time, you know, doing some hours for me, just so I have a break and she has a break. And it's a really beautiful thing to like empower your children and say, look at all the cool things we get to do, and look at mama doing, you know, her magic. And
Yeah, exactly.
so,
It's so funny. My teenager, she was like, when can I have a nanny? You keep talking, maybe I could be homeschooled. Like she's all like trying to create like nannies in her world. And now she's, you know, a little more independent, but it's just, empower the conversation versus using it as a reason, or even in making them feel like they're a reason you don't go big. Like,
right.
I think that's also an epidemic. I think there's a point where, like, don't make your kids the reason you stay home and not get something accomplished. You know, it's like build yourself up so that they can see that example, because they will emulate the brave that you have. I mean, look at what your daughter is experiencing and learning because of that. So anyway, I get on my sidekick.
I love it. I'm all about empowering, you know, women, and especially.
Yeah, especially moms, right? So, so what would you say is, number one, I'd love to know, what do you actually define brave as for yourself?
I think for me, brave is being willing to step into the unknown, or being willing to walk through the fire.
Yeah.
Without knowing anything. It's like, I'm walking through the fire. I'm walking into the unknown.
Yeah, and just trusting, right? Yeah, I love that definition. And I think it fits right in, it's the stop overthinking, be willing to step in and see what you can experience and explore versus, because I think that's where the expansion is, right? It's not in the contraction of what if, and like, what if I fall down and what if I get burned, right? And so I love that that's what your story really shows, is that you're willing to like just take it on and look at the success because of it.
Well, and I think that, thank you. And I think that you have nothing to lose. Like I really do believe that even if, like, let's say you left some amazing job and you totally failed, I guarantee you that 5 years, 10 years from now, it will all make sense.
Yeah.
Oh man, you'll get that I had to go through this piece to experience this to finally get to this, right? It's all part of the journey, and we can't see the forest for the trees, especially if you're going through difficult times, but it all is part of your path in life, and it all builds upon one another and takes you to that ultimate meaning and purpose that we're all striving to find.
Yeah, I love that, and it reminds me of when I left my cushy corporate job, going, okay, I got this, right? I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to buy a store and make it, grandiose and all that. And then a year later, I'm in bankruptcy, right? It's like, but now I can look back and go, yep, on purpose, like here I am because of that, right? And it's like, it's so necessary to have the contrast in order to be able to really grow and expand and learn from it. So it's just really great that you see that as well. So it's awesome.
Right? Otherwise you're going to be stuck and miserable.
it's like you and me both, we're not doing it. No misery here. So what would you say has been probably the hardest thing personally that you really had to overcome through all of this?
Definitely becoming a single mother. I had kind of taken a hiatus from business to, even after I was consulting in Thailand, just to teach yoga. I was like, I'm going to teach yoga, try something new. And so becoming a single mother, I didn't have that financial cushion or income that I wanted to really bring a child into the world. And it was a very surprise pregnancy, and the guy quickly exited out of my life, which was fine. And I'm grateful for my beautiful daughter, of course.
Sure. Not ideal, but yes. Right.
That was definitely one of the hardest periods of my life. Like, it still hurts a little bit when I think about it, just because, I had to move back in with my parents. My self-confidence was at an all-time low. I had to start from nothing, really start over. And it just was a huge hit to my ego, not to mention the whole overwhelming, aspect of, birth and the aftermath of birth and a newborn that just rocks you to your core. And as a woman
knows.
So that period was really hard, but I will say that going through that is what reignited the flames of my passion for really growing my business. She's my deepest why. I wouldn't be doing all the amazing things I'm doing right now if it wasn't for that experience, and for me saying, I got to work my butt off because I will never be in this position again.
It's this is what I just thought of, is that what I hear inside of that is, we hear it all the time, like find your why and what have you, but there is a point where there's a necessity to do what you got to do.
Yes.
And and if you don't tap into some type of necessity, then these hard times or these challenges or these, I got to invest big or spend 50 grand or, whatever is next, are just going to be too overwhelming and you're going to quit. So it's like finding that necessity to wake up every day. And if money's not driving you, what the heck is, right? Like, find it, just define it. Cause my business is my livelihood. Like, I don't have anybody else to call. So, and that's not always true for everybody, and that's okay. But it's like, what else, right? So is that something you kind of relate to as well?
Yes, absolutely. That's why I think I sometimes get frustrated with people who do have a support person, and I'm like, you have no reason not to go big. Come on.
You're like, nope, not here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It is all riding on me. And it was when I became pregnant with her, that protective mama came out, and I knew that I
Sure.
wanted to give her the best life possible. And I had always dreamed of having a daughter and traveling the world with her. And I wanted to do it, not hostel backpacking, which I had those days as well, which was
Right.
oceanfront
Yeah.
air conditioning, to be able to share that experience with her, and to be looking at international schools, for when she starts kindergarten and all of that. It's just very exciting because she has opportunities that I never had, to learn 4 or 5 languages before the age of 10, and to have a passport full of stamps, and to be fearless when it comes to traveling as a woman on her own,
Right. Yeah, I love it.
much experience that she's going to get from this, and it's just going to make her that much more empowered as a young woman.
Yeah. Well, I think I love that. And it's the same for me. It's like, my child is, it's like, I just want to be able to show them what's possible at any turn, right? Like not what to be afraid of and not what to hold back from, but what's possible. Like you get to choose how this shows up for you. And if you want to travel. If you want to, and my daughter right now is like, I want to model in LA. And I'm like, go for it. I know what LA's like, so let's, go for it, and I will be there to support you and advise you, on everything that gets challenging about wherever you go. But, it's like, I am not one to caution, her from it. It's like, no, empower it, because that's going to pay off when she figures out what else she's got to figure out on her own, and I just think you're a great testament to that. So thank you.
You.
Yeah, you're welcome. So number one, this has been so great, so powerful. Now I see why I like you so much, because we have a lot in common. I'm not a single mom, but I'm a mom, and I get what that's all about, and I love travel. So welcome to that. So thank you for being here. I'm really blessed to have met you, and certainly share you with the world. We are international on this show, so it's great that everybody can get to know you as well. So how would you like them to connect with you? What's the best way?
Well, you can find me definitely on my social media platforms. I'm sure I shared some different links below, and
for sure.
Free download your, guidebook to creating your own high-end coaching consulting packages. There's a link below as well.
Awesome. Yes, we'll make sure that's in the notes and all of your social media, our website, etc. So people need to know you, and especially if you're out there building a business. So thank you for that. And in closing, I've got one more question, and that is, if this was your last interview, this was it. There's no more. There's no other chance to tell the world exactly what you want them to know. What would be the message?
I would think it would go right back to the power of choice. Right?
Yeah.
You are the author of your life. Pick up the pen if you don't like how it's going, and write a new story.
Yes, love that. Period. I second that one. Awesome. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you so much for this time, and your just beautiful story, and your energy, and you're brave. I love it. And I will see you on the other side of this for sure. I know we were talking about how can we hang out together in San Diego or Destin, Florida, or whatever. So I would welcome the opportunity to meet you in person. And so everyone listening, please, if you guys have gotten any kind of nuggets, if you have seen the light for yourself, please put some feedback or response or review on iTunes or YouTube. And just let us know what you're thinking. The more I know, the more Jessica knows, the more we can help you and support you in your endeavors. So thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. And thank you, Jessica. And we will see you on the other side, the next episode. Until then, let's go get our brave on. Talk to you then.
Bye.
Bye.